All right. Hey, guys. How is everyone tonight?
I'm doing great, Gary. I think we need to invite some more people up to engage with us there so that we can have more of a conversation. Everybody, full disclosure here, we're learning Clubhouse. This is the first time we've done a room of our own. We've listened in a lot, but this is all new, so just bear with us.
Yep. We're also trying to, what we're doing is we're live streaming on YouTube, Facebook. So a little bit technology going on tonight. And Kyle, if you can go ahead, you can go ahead and unmute and come on to the live stream if you're available.
Awesome. Yeah, I am here. Not really in a good place for video, but I am here with you guys to jump into the lesson.
Awesome. Okay, you guys, we also have Kyle Rodgers with us tonight because we wanted to bring him on to talk about generating motivated seller leads with Facebook posts. Marlena and I got onto a live stream Friday afternoon just to kind of see what everyone wanted to talk about for our first Clubhouse, for our first live stream. And the topic of social media kept coming up. So Kyle, we wanted to bring you on because this is what your expertise is. And while Marlena and I do a little bit of Facebook, you actually teach this, right?
Yeah, this is our main focus. The number one way that we get deals is through Facebook groups. We have several members within our community that have hit six figures within just a couple of months using Facebook groups to find motivated sellers. And the cool thing about groups is you can use it to not just find motivated sellers, but to also find the end buyers. So it's a very neat platform to use in order to get sellers to come your way. Instead of you having to do everything outbound, you can put out digital bandit signs in a sense to get people to come to you.
Awesome. And before we continue, I just want to make sure that everyone on Clubhouse can hear Kyle. Marlena, can you hear Kyle okay?
Yes, I hear him loud and clear.
Perfect. Okay. So Kyle, tell us a little bit about how you started with what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first got into real estate, I was using a lot of the traditional methods that are out there. I got my YouTube education very quickly because I wanted to jump full in. I'm like, man, I could get into flipping houses without doing any of the work or putting in any of my own money or putting my own credit at risk. I can just get in and assign a contract. This is great. I want to learn everything I can and just go for it. And when I did that, I realized that it was a lot harder than, some people make it out to be, and that there's really no magic bullet, that everything takes hard work. Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing that I was getting frustrated with is a lot of the methods that I was doing in my market, in particular, I would start out in Portland, were very, very worn out for that particular market. For example, we were doing direct mail, and I was spending $10,000 a month on a direct mail campaign to get sellers to come my way. And we went 4 months, $40,000 later, and we didn't get a single deal from that. And I was devastated. Yeah, I sat there with my head in my hands, just ready to give up, ready to walk away forever. And luckily, a light bulb went off, and I realized, I can't give up. I was able to find a couple deals and break even because of the online space, because of social media, because of Facebook groups. I was able to find a couple deals and break even. I had this thought. I'm like, what if I switch my focus, and instead of doing that, I focus 100% attention on getting deals from groups. And once I made that shift, everything changed for me. I was able to start doing deals virtually. I was able to get out of Portland, which I don't even work that market anymore. There's a lot of other markets that I feel are easier. And if I can do deals virtually, then why not? Why not focus on easier markets? And once I made that shift, I was able to finally make my dream come true with mine and my wife's dream, which was to travel the world and live in Airbnbs. And we did this for 6 months straight. We sold everything that we owned, fit it into backpacks, moved over to Europe, and traveled around for 6 months straight while we were doing deals in the US virtually.
Wow.
And we started to grow our community, and people were wanting to learn about what we did. And that's where our group came to be, is really people wanting to find out how we're using groups and how we're leveraging that in order to put out digital bandit signs to get sellers to come our way. And then we're using these groups to find buyers. And then we also discovered that we can use these groups to recruit commission-based appointment setters, which appointment setters can come on and use their own Facebook account and post in groups for on your behalf, and they're commission-based. So they get paid when you get paid. And we do this all through groups. So it's very, very cool stuff, very exciting stuff. Now we're traveling full-time in a Class A motorhome all across the U.S. As we're doing this.
Oh man, my parents have one of those, and it has like 2 bathrooms, like a full kitchen. It's nice.
Yeah, it's so fun, and you're in a small space, a small living space, but the whole U.S. is your backyard.
Yeah,
wherever you decide to go.
That's
so
amazing, especially for 2020. Like you really have, I mean, you can go to all the national parks. I know for a little while some of them got shut down, but you have way more freedom than most of us do who are not RVing.
Oh, exactly. And even in areas where the national parks are shut down, we still have national forest and BLM land. So, you know, we go out there and it's completely empty. Even a lot of these national forests and these hot spots that we go, they'd normally be packed. Right now, there's nobody there. And
nice.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's been a good time. But one thing that I want everybody to realize is that using Facebook, you can tap into these groups and reach out to hundreds of thousands of people for free. It's a way around the paywall because you have Facebook ads, right? And a lot of people know about Facebook ads. They're expensive. They're hard to convert. And you have to pay a lot of money just to get views.
Right.
But you can actually go around that. You can go around the paywall and go straight to the source by using Facebook groups. Facebook groups are free, and it's a community of hundreds of thousands of people. In every single group, there's anywhere from 1,000 members, which are some of the smaller groups we post in. Some of the groups have 10,000 members, 20,000 members. There's groups with 50,000 members in them. So imagine if you're posting 13 of these every single day, and that's the magic number. That's what you can get away with is 13. You can post in 13 groups a day. Now, the reason you want to stick with that rule is because if you go over 13, you end up in a place called Facebook jail. You get locked up. And you can be in there for up to 2 weeks, and it's not fun. But what it does is it blocks you from certain functionalities within Facebook. For example, you can't post in groups you don't own. And imagine if that's one of your main lead sources, if you're using Facebook groups to get your leads, if you can't post in those groups for 2 weeks, I mean, that totally kills your momentum.
Where did you come up with the number 13? Was that just trial and error?
That was trial and error, yes. And you can get away with more. I know some people that do 15, and some people push the limits and do 20, and you can get away with it. But there's definitely a good chance that you can end up in Facebook jail by pushing those limits. 13 is the number that we've seen that consistently keeps us out, no matter what Facebook account you're using. Because these rules aren't necessarily hard and fast. Somebody might get away with 20 posts a day, whereas somebody else has to do 13. And the day that they go and they do 14 posts in a day, they get put in Facebook jail.
Okay. And your Facebook account, so you're doing this with a personal Facebook account?
So you can use your personal Facebook account in starting out. I suggest that you do, just to get a feel for it. But ideally, you want to get to the point to where you're not putting this work in, because it's a lot of work. You know, to post in 13 groups in a day, that doesn't take long. Couple minutes, you can get that done. What takes a long time is talking to the people that are reaching out in Messenger, qualifying the leads, and then pushing them over to an appointment. So ideally, you want somebody doing this for you using their own Facebook account.
Got it.
And if you can get 3 to 5 people using their own Facebook account to post, then instead of using one Facebook account, now you're using 3 to 5.
But still limiting it to that 13 posts a day, or now each person can post 13 posts?
Each account can get away with 13 posts. So if you have 5, is 13 times 5.
Yeah.
And then those are managed by individuals so that they're not one person is being overwhelmed by all these accounts, right?
Right.
Every person can handle a little.
Okay. And are these Facebook groups specifically real estate investing?
So the groups that we hit would actually surprise you. We specifically avoid groups that have anything to do with real estate investing, and we avoid groups that have anything to do with real estate at all.
Okay. Interesting.
So you have real estate groups, real estate for sale and stuff like that. A lot of those groups, those were created by agents as a way to generate agent leads, retail leads, right? So you're going to get overwhelmed with agents if you post in these types of groups. The groups that we like to post in are definitely more community based. I can't get too specific in this area. This is getting a little deep, but I can tell you that just finding a community-based group is going to do you more good than trying to post in a real estate group. If you're posting in real estate listing groups, you're going to get agents, which you can make that work. If you tell an agent, hey, I'm sorry, I'm not dealing with any properties that are listed at the moment, but if you have any pocket listings or anything off market, I'm definitely willing to make an offer on those quickly. And if you can build this relationship and find those investor-friendly agents, they can be a regular source of deals. Now, if you're posting in investor groups, real estate investor groups, that's a good way to find JVs. If that's your style and that's your game, is just to find deals that are already under contract, and then you fill the gap by finding the end buyer, then you can do that. You can post in those real estate investing groups to find JV opportunities.
Very cool. So Kyle, I want to be super respectful of your time because I know you were had a time crunch tonight. So do you have a couple more minutes or?
I do. Yeah, we are actually good. I had to reschedule, so we're good.
Awesome. So do you have a hard stop date here tonight?
We can go for another 15, 20 minutes.
Okay. Thank you so much. You guys, I'm so grateful for Kyle for coming on here tonight because this was super last minute, very impromptu. He had some other stuff that he was doing. Luckily for us, they rescheduled on him, it sounds like. So we've got Kyle here for another 15 to 20 minutes, which is so awesome. So thank you, Kyle, for coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me. It's always a good time to jump on and collaborate and share ideas like this.
Yeah. So I have a couple other questions. What kind of posts, specifically, what are you saying inside of these groups? That you buy houses cash?
Yeah. So when it comes to post copy, there's a couple different methods. Some people will use the long form post where you have a paragraph or more, and it seems like it scrolls on forever, right? And then the other style of post is called a card post. Now, a card post is just a question and a sentence or 2 sentences, but it's very short. It's just 2 lines with a bright background, a bright colored background. Have you seen those types of posts?
Yes.
They're very popular with Facebook. I don't know why, but for some reason, the algorithm favors these, and they push those out hard. So anytime you do a card post, that's going to get far more response than doing a paragraph or doing a video. In fact, video gets some of the worst response. If you just post a video, it gets very low response unless it's a live. Lives do pretty good. But in my experience, the short posts that are very simple and easy to read, those are the best. They capture attention. So you want to, your first line would be something that captures their attention. Hey, I'm looking for a fixer, willing to pay cash. Is anybody selling?
Got it.
Super easy. Yeah. And the same thing when looking for a buyer. If you're posting in real estate investor groups looking for a buyer, you would say, hey, I have a deal in Dallas, Texas, tied down. It's a single family property in such and such neighborhood. Is anybody interested? Simple, short, to the point, just to get people to respond. Really, you're looking for people to comment. Now, this is crucial, and this is the golden nugget for anybody that's listening and that's here. You want to write this part down. inside of a post, inside Facebook groups, posting is that these posts can die very quickly. They can fall to the bottom of the group and never be seen again.
Yep.
If you want them to survive and to stay at the top of the group, you have to get comments. That's the lifeblood of these posts, is new comments. Because every time somebody comments on it, it pushes it to the top of the group, and then it pushes it out to more people.
Yep.
So if you post a link, this causes two problems. Problem number one is people are going to click on the link instead of commenting, so that post won't last long. Problem number two is the Facebook algorithm recognizes posts that look like spam. So if you're posting links, the algorithm will think that's spam and then put you in Facebook jail. So the best thing that you can do is ask questions. Questions compel people to answer. And then they start a conversation within the comments. That pushes your post to the top. And then you want to qualify them. Get them over to Messenger first. You want to slide into their DMs, as they say, and have a private conversation. Then you've got them. Now it's like it's like you're fishing and you've got them on the hook, right? Once you're in the DMs, it's time to qualify quickly and then get it converted to an appointment without dragging the conversation on too long.
Yep. Okay, cool.
I just want to say, like, I love this method, especially for newer people. I mean, for more advanced people as well, because it's great and it's something that you can do, with your own labor, or like Kyle was saying, hiring commission-only salespeople to do it for you. So I think it's a great method. It utilizes social media without having to have the paid ads. And so for somebody that just wants to go out there and hustle and find some deals, it's a great method to do so. Utilizing the algorithm and everything that Facebook or even other social media, like figuring out how they work and how they promote things, and just leveraging that to do it just kind of organically. I like that.
Yeah. What's nice about it is it allows you to put in work instead of money. When you're starting out, you have to keep your operation costs low, and advertising can be just ridiculous, super expensive. So if you're trying to keep your costs low and you can replace that by organic marketing, then you're still paying for it. You're paying for it by your hard work, by actually posting in these groups and talking to people on Messenger. That's the difference between paid ads and organic, is that you're paying with your time. But there's a way to bypass this, and that's by leveraging OPW, or other people's work. If you can leverage other people's work and make money off of other people's efforts, then you're able to experience not just financial freedom, but time freedom too. Because what can happen is people are going to come on and want to work with you, have the opportunity to learn while they earn. They're going to use their own Facebook account to post in groups on your behalf, qualify the lead, and then push it through for a phone call. Then you're not spending time on Facebook groups posting, because that can become tedious. As the leader of an organization, you want to jump into the role of being an orchestrator. Everybody starts out as an operator. If you're lone wolfing it, you're doing 100 different jobs at once, and it can be overwhelming. But if you can start to shift, and instead of doing work with your hands, you're doing work through people, that's when you experience time freedom on top of financial freedom.
Absolutely. And then you get to go travel around with your family and RV and let your team run your business with your guidance.
Yes, exactly. Because you get to the point where you manage your managers, you're building relationships with them, and then the managers keep the rest of the team motivated and going for you.
Very cool. Hey guys, if you're on live stream or you're on the Clubhouse, you can ask questions. So this is a perfect time to ask any questions. If you're on the live stream or you're in the Clubhouse, just raise your hand. I think I'm echoing. Oh, okay. So I'll go ahead and let you handle the Clubhouse, Marlena. I think Sharon Mancini has a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Sharon.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, good. It's my first time on Clubhouse too. So you had mentioned to post in non-real estate related groups. What groups would you recommend that are non-real estate? Like, do you mean like community groups, or like groups for moms, or groups for animals, or what sort of unrelated real estate groups would you recommend?
So really you're looking for community-based groups. If you're trying to target a location, you want to type in the city name of wherever you're targeting, and then in the filters, hit groups. And that's going to pull up results for only the groups within that city name, and then join groups that to you make sense. Again, this is something that I can't go too in depth for. I have to reserve some information for my inner circle, but by doing a search for the city name, you can get creative and you'll find a lot of different options there.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I'll tell you, we've joined Kyle's program, and it's awesome. And it's systematically laid out and pretty much done for you. So if you have any interest in this method, then definitely get in touch with him after this.
Okay.
He's on our clubhouse, but Kyle, if you want, go ahead and share how people can reach out to you if they want to learn more.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. So I'm all about with introductions and meeting new people. I want to start with value. I'm not going to try to sell you guys my program or talk about my program or talk myself up. Really, I want to come from a place to where I'm giving you guys value and supporting you. And if you like what I've shared today, if you've gotten some value out of this, you can get some value every single week out of my Facebook group. It's a free group. Feel free to join it. We do expert interviews almost on a weekly basis now. We're bringing in new guests and doing new interviews. And I do live trainings. I give PDFs, step-by-step guides. And all the time I'm giving information that can have an impact in your business, so that eventually, if you guys do want to work with me on a deeper level, you're going to have the means to do that because I was able to make that impact for you. So if you guys want to join my group and join this community, it's called Group Marketing Real Estate Investing Leads. And I know that's a long name, but if you type into the search on Facebook and you say Group Marketing Real Estate Investing, you're going to find it at the top. So it's Group Marketing Real Estate Investing Leads. Go ahead and just click on that, join that group, and I'll let you in, and then we go live on a regular basis, so you guys can get some value in there.
Very cool. And we went ahead and added that on the live stream banner, so you guys have that as well. Cool. Marlena, did you have any other questions?
Well, I don't want to talk too much about it because I understand how it all works, and so I don't want to,
Oh, that's right.
waste information. But I can tell you, like, we've done the paid Facebook ads and the PPC and texting and SMS and everything. And I like this method the best of all of them because, the people that are going to respond to you typically are going to have some interest. And it's a great form of marketing as well as being organic that you don't have to spend a ton of money on, and even build a team without having to pay out for, hiring people and the salary. So I really like it. But that's all I really want to say about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. I appreciate that, guys. It's been so much fun being on here. I appreciate the kind words. It really is a great community. We're impact driven, and we're really about relationships and working together as a collective unit so that we all win. It's your network equals your net worth. So as long as you're building your community and you're connecting with good people, then you'll find success.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much, Kyle, for your time. We're so grateful that you came on here to talk to us about what you've got going on. You guys all should be joining the Facebook group. So much good information just from this last 25 minutes that you've shared with us.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care. All right, you guys. So we can continue talking social media marketing. So happy that we got Kyle for that time because it was very impromptu, and he's got such a great thing going on there. Something that's totally new to, I've never done it. I've never done what he's doing with his approach. Marlena, I know you're starting to.
Yeah, I really like it. I've heard it from some other people too, but I wasn't as impressed with the programs that they were offering, and I really liked Kyle's program, and I'm still kind of new with it, but I've explored it enough and seen his group and how active they are, and people are really getting results. So it's nice to see, and it's a great method. So anybody that wants to leverage social media marketing forms, I think a lot of people are familiar with putting out a call for, buyers, for example, in a real estate investor group, like who's a cash buyer in here. But most people don't really think about using it for seller marketing. And you can get really targeted and use social media for very impactful purposes, and save yourself a lot of money on the type of marketing that we just like to throw money at, and really hope that it's going to pan out for us. So great thing for somebody is getting started for sure.
And here's what I love about this approach. You can go anywhere in the country to do this, number one. Number two, this would be so easy to hire someone to do this for you so that you're not doing the Facebook posts. I mean, it's really just someone starting the conversation for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and
there's some strategy and technique to it, the way that he approaches it.
Yeah, sure.
Anything that you're going to do, and I think this is a key point, no matter what type of marketing somebody's doing, you can't just dabble in it and test it and see if it works the first time and then decide, oh, let me go try something else. So whatever you're going to do, make sure you pick one thing, get really consistent in it and get really good at it, master that channel. And then, you can always add something else later, but make sure that you really go to the end and get the results before you try to move on to something else. It's a big mistake a lot of people make.
Yeah. All right. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Yeah, we have somebody here that came up onto the stage. I don't want to mess up your name, Yoichi. So I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Okay, good.
Yeah, you got it right.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Welcome.
So I had a quick question. So I get a lot of deals in like a little tiny market, like hour to 3 hours away from like a major city, and a lot of these city towns don't have like its own like a Facebook group or whatever. So was wondering what tips you guys have for like trying to market in these places.
Sure. Well, I'll take this because I'm familiar with this. You can go anywhere. So if you're in a market that doesn't have a group like this, maybe try to look for your county to see if there's a group. Maybe it's not in that specific city, but it covers the county. Or if it's just really that small of a location, you might want to go to a bigger city area nearby. But you can go anywhere in the country. So if you're not finding what you want in your own backyard, then feel free to test another environment.
One thing, if I could add to, is I think there's a lot of neighborhood apps and groups popping up. So I know like here where we live, there's the Nextdoor app, which is more of a neighborhood app. I mean, I don't know if you would consider it social media, but it's certainly a place where people post and talk, and it's really more of a neighborhood group. So there might be other neighborhood groups that you could post in as well.
Absolutely. And I don't know if anybody has tried any of, say, TikTok, for example, but I hear that's the next up and coming thing. So no matter what the social media format is, there's always a way to leverage it if you learn how to use it. So many people just waste time scrolling on stuff, and it's the time suck, and they don't really use it intentionally. And then, being an investor, I know a lot of people will scroll through social media and then throw a ton of money at marketing. And you could actually leverage the social media for your marketing. So I think it's a great topic for tonight. We have a few more people that stepped into the room. So if anybody wants to offer any experience or advice as far as social media marketing for real estate investing.
I will say I follow Russell Brunson a lot, and he is obviously big on social media marketing. He says start with one thing. Don't get spread too thin with all of these different platforms because you will get spread thin. It seems like it's easy until you're posting in all different platforms. You're having to respond to comments. You're having to stay active. So Russell is big on just focus on one, become a master of that social media channel, and then start branching out into other channels. So like for us, we started really Facebook, and then we branched off into YouTube with YouTube channel. And now we're doing all different kinds of things, but we really just started with Facebook, creating a simple Facebook group.
Absolutely. I know Kyle, actually, almost everything that he does between his coaching and his seller marketing, his buyer marketing, he uses Facebook for everything.
Yeah.
So you can imagine one marketing panel and one social media marketing platform and just get really, really dialed in and good at it. Imagine the power of that. So many people just spread themselves so thin trying too many different things, but it could be that simple.
Yep. That's a great question. All right. Anyone else have any other questions or comments?
See a couple people on stage that I'm sure we'd love to hear from. So anybody want to chime in?
I think they're being shy.
Well,
I knew it. I knew it. I was literally staring at your picture like I know he's going to be coming on. I can feel it.
I couldn't help it. I saw you girls in this room and I was like, what are they powerhousing about?
So y'all, we have Zach Childress in the room.
I just want to learn from you ladies. That's all I want to do.
Awesome.
Well, I'm sure you have some value to add here. So you are like social media king, I hear. You definitely have some experience in this realm. So what would you like to share with us?
You know, you got to give me a timer, okay? I've never really been big on social media when it came to real estate lead generation. You know, I take it from a different approach. I believe in media. I believe in media exposure, and Facebook and YouTube is just another form of media. But, you know, in my market, we did some Facebook advertisement, but the problem that we ran into is just the barrier of entry to, you know, start running and putting up Facebook ads was so low that it was like every time we turned around, there was 30 people on Facebook running ads. And so I just, you know, I'm a believer that, you know, find another spot to gain your media space. And so I pulled out of that, and then we were running radio for a while and doing really well with that, actually. And then when COVID hit, you know, nobody was driving their cars anymore. So,
good point.
so we actually just started launching media on TV. And so that's brand new, but it literally hit like 2 days ago. We've already got 60 leads off of it. So
Awesome.
So we're excited about that. That was a media space that no one in my market was covering. So I just jumped from one media outlet to another that had less competition.
I hear you. You know, that's something that Josh and I have actually been interested in recently, both radio and the TV. So if you don't mind sharing a little bit about your experience so far, if somebody wanted to get into that, what would they be looking to do?
In the TV ad media?
Well, you've got experience in radio and you're moving into TV. So, yeah.
So here's what I have found, that I am not a specialist at it. And so I am a believer in finding the specialist and hiring them. So radio was something that we found that was not, how do I say this? The leads off of Facebook were much cheaper, but the quality of the lead off of radio was much higher. For example, you know, Facebook advertising, which is what we call impulse ad media buy, is you're trying to capture their attention from scrolling. Scroll. Oh, who's this crazy person? What do they have to say? So it's a very, it's an attempt. You got to be strong at grabbing attention. Where radio, they're in their car, you know, and hopefully they're not in their car scrolling on Facebook and listening to the radio, which I've definitely seen that. But, you know, we just found radio produced a better quality. I mean, it was like Facebook, we could get a lead for about $35, sometimes $45 a lead. Where radio, you know, we might be closer to $250, but the quality of that lead was much higher. The downside to like large media buying, which is what I'm learning as I move into the TV space, is a lot of people don't do it because of the financial commitment and the contracts, because you can't just, like Facebook, you could jump in and start running $5 a day ads and control that ad spend, and you can stop it and change it and retweak it.
Where radio, you can't just stop it. It's in the cycle. You can let it run its cycle for that day or the next 2 days and then change your ad. And I'm seeing that that's the same with TV. But there are some strategic plays with them if you get the right media buyer in your camp to go negotiate these. For example, when I started negotiating TV, I was like, there's no way I'm going to spend this kind of money. Like, it's insane. But my fellow friends across the Midwest that were doing it were like, no, Zach, do it. It's worth it. But I was negotiating with the TV stations. When I went out and found a broker that specializes in it, man, they cut what the stations were quoting me. They came in and cut it by 2/3.
Oh, that's awesome.
So find a TV broker.
Yeah. and the beauty of like media brokers is you don't pay them. The stations pay them. So they basically are negotiating on your behalf to be paid by the media platforms. But the reason that that's possible is because, one, obviously they're good at what they do and they have the clientele. But on the second note, it's because of the contractual agreements. You have to be in agreements for 3, sometimes 6 months to stay on that media platform.
Yeah, that's quite a commitment. And it can get up into the tens of thousands of dollars.
Oh, well, when you add the commitment in, it can get up to 6 figures.
Yeah.
So,
per month, right?
Right. But here's my theory on this, right? So I run 3 rehab businesses and 1 wholesaling company. Well, I don't run them. Let me take that back. I partner with people who run them. And, my theory is let's say, you're going to spend $15,000 a month. And I don't know who all's in the audience. And, and please don't take this as you need to be on my chapter 40 if you're on chapter 5. If you're on chapter 5, focus on chapter 6. So, but what I've noticed, or what I came into this with, is okay, if I spend $15,000, let's just say in 1 month, and I did 2 deals and made $20,000, well, then that was good. I made money on the money. So, and that's how I look at all ad spend or all media spend, whether it's in my real estate business, my e-commerce business, my education company. I look at media based on ROAS, return on ad spend, and can you get that to dial in to be profitable?
Right. Yep. Awesome. So basically find a TV media broker if you're going to do TV. And it's not for everyone. Especially, I feel like when you're first starting out, you have to have a team in place because there is a chance that you could have a lot of leads coming in. And if you're new, you might not be able to capture all those leads. And now it's marketing dollars wasted.
Yeah. And I think for people starting out, obviously radio and TV is probably not the low-hanging fruit to get rolling and get proof of concept.
Well, that's why I didn't want to say.
No,
but this is,
I don't said beginners. So.
But
I appreciate you answering the question, though. But yeah, I did want to make that point that you only answered that because I asked you to, not because that's a good thing for beginners.
Yes. Also, too, I think we have more than just beginners in the group. Because we can all get back to the basics, right? Seasoned investors and beginner investors all need to get back to the basics sometimes. And TV and radio are just another tool that we can use for marketing. And you don't have to start out with TV and radio. Zach, how long have you been doing this now? A long time.
Oh, I'm going on, this will be my 19th year doing this. So, when I first started, we didn't have social media. So it's so funny because, I was the guy that was running around sticking flyers on gas pumps and business windows. And, I was going and putting my We Buy House cards and all the real estate books at Books a Million and Barnes and Nobles. And, I was bootstrapping it. I was trying to just figure out how to get as many people looking at my company with the least amount of money as possible because I just didn't have a lot starting out.
Right.
So I did a lot of, I would buy foreclosure list. I would go door knock. And I just bootstrapped it. And it's so funny. Like the very first mentor I ever found, this is a pretty one, is I put a We Buy House business card in a real estate beginner's book in Barnes and Nobles, and I was putting them in all of them, by the way. Not that I was supposed to, but
Smart.
I figured that real estate people were buying those books, and they might be buyers, and I needed buyers. So,
I really like that. I like how you think.
so I was just being creative,
Yeah.
and Joe Nunes out of California called me up and said, "Hey, is this Zach?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is Zach, blah, blah, blah," you know, and he's like, "Well, I got your business card out of this book in Barnes and Nobles." And I was like, "Oh, really?"
That's awesome.
Because no one had ever called me yet, so I didn't know how to handle it. And he was just really intrigued. And at this time, I don't know if you guys remember, We Buy Houses used to sell territories and you could buy leads off of them. Well, he owned 38 territories of We Buy Houses in California. And he said, "Look, man, he was just like, I love the creativity. Obviously, you're trying to build this thing." He wanted to have a meeting with me. And so I met with him and he said, "Look, I'm going to give you all my leads. You call them, negotiate them, contract them." He's like, "I'll sell them and we'll split the fees." And I was like, "Absolutely." And that was a huge bump in my business when I first started, just because of that one creative idea. Led me to Joe that ended up leading me to 100 plus leads a week that he was giving me. So
that's awesome. And, I think that's such a neat thing that you did. And, Josh and I have gone around and put business cards and flyers and little sticky notes on, people's houses, cars, all that kind of stuff in the gas. The gas. Like we've done all of that, but I can tell you, like, we never did enough of it to get really consistent results out of it. Like we might get a call here and there. But I just want to stress for everybody, there's so many things that you can do. I mean, there's probably 100 different versions of things that you can do that's cheap or free marketing that you can just go out there and hustle for. But again, just to stress, just take one thing and get really dialed in with it so that you can get the results before you try and spread yourself too thin across too many things. But that's awesome, Zach. And I love that you got networked through that and got training and got results and made money with that. And a simple little card and a creative idea. That's awesome.
Yeah. And it just really goes to show that you just never know. So just get yourself out there. Like do what you need to do to get your business cards out there. Get yourself out there because you never know when it's going to lead to that first deal that gives you that momentum. Right.
Mm-hmm. Or who you're going to meet.
Which is even more powerful.
Which is the power of Clubhouse right now, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just crazy the amount of people that you can meet on here and actually put your voice out there and get deals. Because I'm seeing it firsthand happening, and so I just encourage everybody to look around in who you're next to and click on their bios and see who they are and what they do. And I mean, not everybody gets to come up and share their voice, but there's a lot of people just in the audiences that are really serious players in the real estate space. They're just not coming up to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, power of networking is huge, and that's where everyone should start. And everyone should just continue that always.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And speaking of the people in the room, if you don't mind, help us out a little bit by maybe bringing a couple of people into the room that you think should be in on this conversation, whether it's somebody that might have something to add to the conversation or just want to listen in. And, this is it's meant for beginners to help you get started. But, of course, everybody can always learn from things that they don't know already. And there's tons of things that are new all the time. So, it doesn't matter if you're new or more experienced. But if you have anything that you want to add to the conversation or any questions that you want to ask, please do raise your hand and we'll be happy to bring you up on stage. And we do have Frank. Frank, you want to add anything or ask any questions?
Hey, Marlena, how are you tonight? Carrie?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Hey, Zach. I question for you on as far as the advertising on TV goes. Did you have any success with radio at all, or move right to TV, or how did that progress?
No, we were having success on radio, but when COVID hit.
Okay, I missed that part. Okay.
Yeah, it dropped tremendous because there's just nobody driving, and so we just pivoted. They let us get out of our agreement because of it, and so we pulled out. And we just started looking for another media channel, and it just dawned on me watching this commercial of this guy is like, Interact, need a check, call us, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking, man, like, I don't see anything like that for real estate. And so I went down that rabbit hole started calling all my connections, looking for people that could introduce me to media buyers for TV. And at the same time, I started calling the stations and just trying to figure it out. And here's the thing, it's very complex. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and joke about that. Understanding when, because it's not, hey, I want to buy 50 spots on TV and run them for me. That's not at all how it works. Hey, you got Tom Kroll in the audience, by the way, just to bring that up. And then what happened is there's a demographic to that. So it's not every channel is your better avatar. Just think of it like Facebook advertisement, right? Like you go in, you build your audiences, there's certain demographics you want to target for the best prospect that would sell you a property. Well, it's the same way on TV. There's certain channels that cater to the demographic of the type of person that we're looking for that would sell us sell us a house. And so, I just started looking at all that and realizing that was very complex to figure out. And so I went and hired a media buyer, and man, he jumped in and he was like, yep, we know exactly what you're trying to do. He was like, these are the stations you want to be on. This is the time you want to run it. And we just let him run with it. And there again, like we didn't have to pay him because the stations paid him. But somebody that, you could ask this to also is Tom Kroll, because he has a Rhino that actually does a podcast and teaches on this subject as well of buying media on TV.
Yeah, welcome, Tom. You want to open up and say hello to the group?
Bam! Hey, everybody. Good to hear everybody's voices. Thanks for the intro there, Zach, and the opportunity, Marlena. Carrie, it's good to see you, and Frank, and oh, man, look at this. A great room. My throat is a little sore. I apologize. I was talking too much in another room, but I think we're talking about advertising on the radio for motivated sellers.
Yeah.
Well, I was going down the TV side, but I know you and what's the
Yes, the Rhino, Chris Arnold. He's a rock star, good man. Yes, he teaches new wholesalers or experienced wholesalers how to run ads on the radio. It's called REI Radio for real estate investors, not just wholesalers, of course. And we have a lot of successful rhinos there. If you guys are wondering why we use the term rhinos, Marlena could tell you about that, but it's essentially because we, early on when I first started, we found a book called Rhinoceros Success, and it's the greatest business book you've ever read, hands down. Nothing comes even close, and it's fantastic. So if you haven't read it, I would definitely suggest reading it. It's an easy book. I pray to God there's not an audible version so that you actually have to crack open an actual real book and build that brain muscle, because that's the big separator of people who are successful and who aren't, is that successful people read 100% of the time. So I encourage all of you guys, especially if you're just starting out, to read. But I think radio is fantastic. I don't know anything about it, but Chris Arnold does, and he's a rock star, and he can tell you guys all about it. I could probably get him on here if you guys need me to.
Yeah, please invite him over. I will say, I know we have a lot of more beginner people in the room, or people that are looking for kind of things that they can do to get started. So, Tom, obviously you have a long history and wealth of knowledge in this subject. So is there anything that you'd like to share with people as far as what's a great thing for them to get started with?
I think I'm here to help any way you guys would love me to, any way I can. I would love to help any way I can if you need me to help to answer any beginner questions. I think from 50,000 feet, the most important thing is that wholesaling has nothing to do with real estate, right? It has nothing to do with real estate. And that is the most important lesson, because real estate can only confuse what you're trying to do. So if we're talking just wholesaling, which is what I love and what I'm passionate about and my expertise, I would say just if you really want the best mentorship program in the world, of course I would recommend Wholesaling Inc. But I would recommend you just download the first, second, or third season of Pawn Stars. And I want to make sure I say that the right way. And you just watch that, because wholesaling is a pawn shop. What I mean by that is it's a relationship business, right? They bring the clock in. The people selling the clock know they can go to eBay, but they choose to go to the pawn shop because they need fast cash.
Yeah.
And the guy behind the counter, he's never anxious. He says, what is it? And the guy says, it's a grandfather clock. And they says, well, it's a nice grandfather clock. Tell me more about it. And the guy says, oh, blah, 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 blah. And then the guy says, well, it looks like a nice clock. Why would you consider selling it? And they say, oh, I don't want it. It's too big. I can't lift it up anymore. It's too big hassle. It takes up too much space in the house. And then he says, well, what were you hoping to get for it? Key question. Well, what were you hoping you could get for it, right? Everything you need to know about wholesaling real estate, you can get by just watching that show, because that's really what we do. It's a simple concept. And if you can get good at finding discounted properties consistently, you will find financial freedom 100%, right? Because whether you're Robert Kiyosaki or you are Donald Trump or you're Marlena and Josh Dates, you 100%, every one of your best deals started with a discounted property. So that's from a 50,000 foot view. That's why I love wholesaling. Anybody can start at any time. It's super easy. Even if you have a learning disability, you didn't break 1,000 points on your SAT, and you barely graduated high school like me, all those three things.
Awesome.
So I love it. And I'm here to help anybody who needs help.
Well, thank you so much, Tom. We're so glad that you're here with us, and thank you for sharing that. I know Hunter had a question. Hunter, if you'd like to unmute yourself, go ahead.
Hi, yeah, my name's Hunter. I didn't have a question. I just wanted to offer a little bit of advice, because I'm pretty new to real estate. So I've been in it for about 2 years now, doing wholesaling, flipping, and then a little bit of long-term investment properties. But I just wanted to provide a point of view from somebody who's still newer, just the people that are in here. So I think kind of like what Tom was just talking about a little bit, mentorship and finding a mentor was something that was super important for me. And I kind of how I found my mentor was I had in college, I'd been running like a little bit of a marketing agency, and I still do that now. However, I was interested in getting started in real estate, so I had done my networking with people that I've done business with before through my marketing agency, and they were able to refer me to people that were also in real estate. And through that networking there, I was able to kind of propose a little bit of in exchange for mentorship, I could help with their marketing. So through the networking and everything, I was able to find my best mentor by offering something to them as well. So besides like monetary, I was a college student, so I didn't have a lot of money to pay to have somebody be my mentor, but I had the skills of being a marketer. So I was able to kind of exchange helping them with their marketing for their real estate business. In exchange, I was able to learn a lot about real estate and get started in it. So if anybody's looking for a mentor, I just wanted to put that out. If you can kind of provide some value to them, it doesn't have to be money or anything, but it's if you can provide something to them, it's a great mutual way to find a mentor.
Absolutely. And I think that goes back to the whole idea of making sure that you're networking with enough people, because that's really where your success is going to come from over the long term. I mean, we can talk about all the techniques and the strategies, and if you're not networked with people, you're going to be losing opportunities left and right. And you just don't even know what you're losing if you're not networked. So thank you so much for sharing that, Hunter. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Hunter.
I'd like to say to Hunter that was smart, man.
Yeah.
There was a guy in my market. He was a Facebook. He was learning to build a Facebook agency, ad agency, and that was the proposal he came to me with. He was like, "Hey, look, I'll set all this up and framework it and manage it for you. You know, if we could barter." And I bartered with him. I said, "Sure, like we'll set up 2 appointments a month. You can come in my office. You know, I'll coach you, and then you can manage the ads." And so I think that's smart when you lead with the value. People will say sometimes, "Well, I don't have the money for this," or "I don't have the money for that." But I think we forget the most important asset we have, which is our knowledge, our skill sets. And it's not always monetary. It's what can you do to add value to the other person and then get something in return that you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I try to do, is just provide some value, and then he was able to provide me with a lot more value. But yeah, great. Thank you.
Awesome.
And, you know, I think that's a really key point for everybody in here that's new as well. You know, when you're thinking about talking to sellers, really be focused on them and how you can provide value, offer solutions to their problems. You know, you're going to win a lot more deals if you go in with that mentality than if you go in with a mentality of just wanting to get a deal for yourself. So always keep that in mind. That mentality of providing value is where all the value is going to end up coming back to you in the long run.
Yep.
And we have Francis Abola here. You want to step up and chat with us a little bit?
What's up, Marlena?
Hey, good to hear from you. How are you doing?
Outstanding.
Awesome.
Hey, my name is Francis Ablola. I'm a marketer, so I got drawn to this room by marketing hacks because that's what I love. I've been involved in the real estate investing industry for a good 15, coming up close to 20 years now. I've been an information marketer for about 20 years now. And marketing is one of those things that when you get, it opens the doors to so many other worlds of possibility. So it leads to success not only in, you know, as a marketer, but you can help so many people, add value to so many people. And I just to kind of go off of what was just said about adding value and finding the mentors. When I first started in this business, again, back 20 years ago as a marketer, I was able to pick up so many skills and open so many doors just by saying, hey, I'm willing to put in the sweat equity. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to work. I remember one of the first projects I ever did, this was 20 years ago, was for absolutely free. And I worked for a year for free for this guy who was working on his book. He owned a restaurant. Now, 20 years later, we're still good friends. He has, 10, 12 books that are on the end cap of every airport. And just because of that sweat equity I put in early, we've had relationships. And he's introduced me to people and opened doors. And that's how I've lived my entire life in relationship capital, growing from the skills of a marketer. So this is a great topic for a room, especially for real estate investors.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Francis. I do want to ask, what do you think, in your opinion, is probably the easiest way for somebody that's just trying to get started to focus their marketing? What would you suggest?
If you're just getting started, I see this massive trend right now, especially with Facebook groups, that you can go in and create connections with people in groups all across the country. Mm-hmm. And we run a couple Facebook groups right now, and they're growing really fast. And I see connections made in there. And then, I'm just learning Clubhouse. I know Zach's been on here, and we were talking about Clubhouse earlier, a couple hours ago, right, Zach? I mean, this is a great opportunity also. So what you're doing right now, Marlena, is amazing. So it's been so much easier to reach audiences and connections than ever before. So leverage that for sure.
Absolutely. It's funny too that you say the Facebook groups, because we started out with somebody talking specifically about Facebook groups. So that's perfect.
Perfect way to end.
Yeah, nice cap for that.
Thank you. Awesome.
Well, we don't want to end this group short, and I know a lot more people came on toward the end. So, but we do have little kiddos, and they're waiting for mommies to get back to them. So we're going to do this every Tuesday evening at 8. And there may be, we may be able to extend it a little bit longer in the future, but we just wanted to kind of get rolling with things this evening and introduce ourselves to everybody, let you know what we're doing, figure out this Clubhouse thing. That was a big thing for us tonight. So score, success.
That's a win for us.
Absolutely. But Carrie, you want to tell them about other things, other places they can find us?
Yeah. So if you guys are just joining the room or you joined halfway through, so we're generally going to do this from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Tuesday nights. So if you can't join us right at 8 p.m. and you feel like you missed something or you want to go back, We're also doing this live stream on a couple different places. You can go to my personal Facebook page, Carrie Like, L-Y-K-E is my last name. You can go onto the REI Live Facebook page, or you can go onto the Investor Warrior YouTube channel. And that recording, this entire recording that we've done where we started at 8 will be sitting there for you to go back to. So don't worry if you came into the room late, you can go back and watch all of the recording from when we had Kyle Rodgers on talking about how to utilize Facebook groups to generate seller leads and buyers, to talking with Zach about TV and radio, and now speaking again with Francis about marketing, again, via social media and providing value to people to get started. So this has been all such great stuff. So we want to make sure that you, if you joined late, you can go back to the recordings.
Yeah, and let me just specify, we are affiliated with a larger REI Live group, but we're specifically REI Live Orlando. So you can find us at REI Live Orlando Facebook page. It's streamed there, and also REI Live Orlando YouTube page.
And let me just tell everybody, they need to follow you ladies, because if they don't follow you ladies, then they won't know when you're in a room talking. So they need to click on your profiles, follow these ladies for starting this group and committing to once a week.
Yeah.
You know, make that clear.
Well, thank you, Zach.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. And no, we're super excited, you guys, because we are going to be solely focused on marketing. There's so much marketing out there, right? So we're going to be bringing on different guests that are experts in their own marketing channels. So next week, we're going to be bringing on Jonathan Christensen, who's from Canada. He's a social media master. So he's agreed to come on and talk to us some more about how to utilize social media in the real estate investing world.
Mm-hmm. And if you do have any questions in the interim between this week and next week, reach out to us on one of those other platforms and feel free to let us know so that we can make sure that they get answered.
All right, you guys. So I think we're going to wrap it up. Make sure that you, again, like Zach said, follow us so that you'll get notified. You can go to my personal Facebook page, REI Live Orlando, or the Investor Warrior YouTube channel to get the recording and go back and listen to all this again.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks everybody for being here with us this evening. If you got in late, make sure you check us out next week. We'll be here every week. And again, you can check out the recordings on our other platforms. But we wish you all a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Have a great night.